Today I'm going to show you how to make this little wrap bracelet. It's a combination of, well actually it's just herringbone stitch. It's just 2 rows of herringbone stitch. I wanted to introduce herringbone. This is the easiest, simplest stitch there is because we're only doing 1 row of herringbone, and because we're doing 1 row when there's only 2 beads, it's not laying at an angle like this, which is what herringbone traditionally does. That's why it's called herringbone. However, it is the basic herringbone stitch, and we're just changing sizes of beads to make it more interesting as we make our wrap bracelet. We're also changing colors of our main focal beads. Now, if you wanted to, as you can see, I have 1 section of each color here. You can change the Eidos seed beads in each section too and make each section completely different colored. You can also probably use a 4x3 rondelle crystal. I would think that would work. You can also use a 4mm round crystal instead of 4mm round beads. Now, if you try a bicone, it may not work because they have to lay together, and bicones are shaped such that it may not work. You can try it, but it may not look as good. You'll probably see more thread because this is a thready stitch anyway, and you may see a lot of thread between the bicones because of the shape of them. But you can try it. I did one on my other channel with cubes, and cubes work too. So you can try that if you would like. Let me show you what it looks like on. And this is what it looks like on. Well, it all depends on how you wrap it and how it looks. But there's my clasping there. And that's what that looks like. So anyway, let's look and see what we need to make this project today. Okay, for this project, we will be using 3 different colors of 4mm round beads. I'm using a pearlized drook, which is gold, for one of them. I'm using a glass pearl, which is cream, for another. Actually, it's kind of an ivory. And then I'm going to use a 4mm round pearl, glass pearl, that is peach colored. I'm going to use Eidos seed beads for the main core of my bracelet. So you're going to need several grams of them. And this one that I am using is a red copper metallic suede hybrid Toho, and the number is Y, like in yellow, 911. I am also going to be using an 11-0 Toho galvanized aluminum silver tone. You will also need a toggle clasp or a button, something to clasp your bracelet with. I'm going to use this little fancy toggle today. You will also need a ruler and a string or a piece of ribbon or something to measure your wrist. You will also need a size 10 beading needle and some thread. You can use 8 or 10 pound Nanofil. I'm going to use 8, or you can also use 6 or 8 pound Fireline. You will be extending your Fireline or Nanofil in this project, so check out video number 4, and that will show you, on this channel, video number 4, that will show you how to extend Fireline. And first, we're going to have to figure out, we want to make a 3-layer wrap bracelet. The first thing we have to figure out is just how big our wrists are, so, or the person that you want to make it for. What I do is I take a ribbon or something like so, and I wrap it around my wrist, and I'm probably going to get out of camera doing this. It's kind of hard to hold it for myself. I wrap it around my wrist so it's not tremendously tight but not loose either, and find exactly where it meets, like so, right there. And then I will lay it on my ruler. So my ruler, when I lay this down, my wrist is exactly 6.5 inches. So I have to triple that length and then divide it by 3, adding an inch, so that I know exactly how long I want my bracelet to be. In other words, I will turn this 3 times and get the exact length, because this is going to be 6.5 inches, get the exact length of how long it will be to go around my wrist 3 times. Then I'll measure this. Of course, you can just multiply 6½ inches by 3 also. It doesn't matter how you do that. Just depends on how you want to do it. And then I'll lay it on here and get my measurement. So there's 12 inches, and then there is 7 more. So I will need to make mine 19 inches long to go around my wrist 3 times. I want to then add 1.5 inches for my clasping. So I'm just going to say, so that it'll be easy for me to do this, I am just going to say that my end result is going to be 21 inches. I'm going to divide that by 3. So I'm going to make each section 7 inches long, or maybe a little under 7. As you do this, you can wrap it on your wrist too to see how you think it's going to work. So once you have decided how long each section is going to be, remember that, and then we will begin making our first section. To start this project, pick up 2 Eidos seed beads onto your needle, and then bring them down to the end of your thread. You do not have to leave a long tail, just enough to hold on to and to ensure that your beads will not slip off of your thread. Then come back through the first bead that you put on your thread, just the first bead on the tail side, and pull. This will bring the second bead up next to the first bead in what we call a ladder stitch. Now we have to secure this, so pull both your threads so that they're not all loose and funny, and then you're coming out of this bead, you're going to go into the bead right next to it, and then you're coming out of that bead, you'll go up into the first one again. Now if they pull out of whack like mine just did, that's okay, because you can pull them right back into place, like so. Let's get a little closer. I have to apologize for my hands. They're rather beat up, and I didn't clean them all up and get ready for this video, and I apologize. It's just sometimes I just don't have time, and I'm always beating my hands up. Okay, so we're going to pick up 2 more 11/0 seed beads. We're coming out of this bead here. We are going to go into the bead next to it. This is a herringbone stitch, but because we're doing a simple herringbone of 2 beads, as we sew through, it's going to straighten them out. Normally, a herringbone stitch will have beads that are tilted like so. If you look at this, you will see that my beads are tilted. That's what a herringbone stitch does. However, as we sew through this, because we're only making 2 on our project, it will straighten them out. They will lay side by side, but they will not be at an angle. So let me back off. Now we're coming out of this bead on the bottom here. We're going to go back up into both beads on the opposite side, right here. And we're going to pull. Then I'm going to turn my project back around. Now I'm going to pick up 2 more Eidos seed beads. This time I'm just going to go through the bead next to it alone. I'm not going to include the bottom beads. So I will pick up this bead here, and I will pull my 2 beads I picked up down. I will arrange them so that they lay out whole side up on top of the previous beads. Now I'm coming out here, I'm going to cross over to this bead, and I'm going to go straight up into the bead on top of it also, like so. Now you will see this will pull the bottom beads straight as I do this. They won't be laying at an angle anymore. Make sure you pull your thread through tightly so that they fall between the beads and it doesn't show greatly. I should probably be using a darker thread so that you don't see this so well, because in herringbone you are going to see a thread down the middle. But it truly doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, use a darker thread if you're using dark beads. Then pick up 2 more Eidos seed beads. I'm coming out of this bead, I'm going to go into just the bead next to it. I'm going to pull these 2 beads down. Then I'm going to cross my thread over the top, go into the one next to the one I'm coming out of, and the bead on top of it, and pull. Here I have made 4 and that 4 units, and that is going to be what I'm going to do between my transitions. So not only are we learning herringbone stitch, we're going to learn how to switch out beads during the herringbone stitch. It just makes it more interesting. Of course, you can do it all Eidos. You can make the whole thing just Eidos. You can make it like this in 11 whatever you would like to do once you learn the herringbone stitch. However, and this one, I'm going to add a little interest to it. But first, I'm going to add my clasp. So I am coming out of this bead here. I'm going to cross over and I'm going to go up all 4 of these beads right here. And I'm going to exit the very bottom one. Move my tail out of my way. I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads and an 8-0. And then I'm going to pick up my clasp, and I will show you here. 2 11-0s, 8-0, go through the clasp, drop it down to your piece, like so. I'm going to back off just slightly because I'm really way too close. Now, I'm going to go back into the 8-0 seed bead. So my thread is just going around my clasp. I'm going to go back into the 8-0 seed bead. I'm going to pull my thread through and pull my clasp up to the 8-0. And then pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. And I'm going to go into just this top bead here. Actually, let's go through all 4 just to secure them. Go through all 4 of the herringbone stitch here. Now, when you're attaching a clasp, you can't just put one little piece of thread through it. That's not going to hold it. So we're going to go back up through all 4 of our beads. We're going to go back up through the 2 11-0s, the 8-0, and through the clasp. Let's get closer so you can see. Now, let's pull this through. Let's go back down into the 8-0 seed bead. And this time, let's do a couple of rounds just by going through 2 of the beads here. So just go through 2 of the 8-0s, cross over, go into the 8-0 next to the one you're coming out of, go into the 8-0 on top of that one, go into the 2 11-0 seed beads on top of the 8-0s, and then through the 8-0 on top of the 11-0s, and pull your thread through. Make sure that thread goes down deep between the beads, and then go through your clasp. And now we will sew down into the 8-0 again. We'll go down this side, the 2 11-0s, and we'll go down all 4 8-0s and exit. Now if you don't feel like that's enough time to go around it to secure it, maybe you're really hard on your jewelry or you're making it for someone that's hard, you can go through it more than that. But I find that that's secure enough for me. Now I'm going to cut this tail down. And I'm going to see if I have a lighter and burn it down. So when you burn your little extra pieces down, just put the heat close to it. Don't light it on fire. So I just go to the bottom of my flame and just get it close to the thread and just let the thread curl in like so. Then we are now going to start the transition into interest point on the bracelet. So we're going to change our beads, doing the same stitch, different beads. So this time we're going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. We're coming out of this 8-0 here. We're going to cross over into this 8-0 here, and we're going to pull these 2 11-0 seed beads down, making sure that they lay whole side up, or close to it anyway. Once you go back through them, they'll be whole side up. Just make sure they're side by side and the thread is not twisted. Then go back up the 8-0 seed bead next to the one you're coming out of and the 11-0 on top. Now, just to make sure this is nice and neat and secure, just because these are a different size, we're going to go through the 8-0 on this side, or through the 11-0 and 8-0 on this side, or excuse me, we're going to go through the 11-0, I am sorry, just the 11-0 here, and then we're going to cross over and go back through the first 11-0. We're just sewing through these 11-0s to straighten them out and make them ready to receive the 4mm round beads. So now I have them laying nice and neat and straight. So now I'm going to pick up 2 peach colored pearls onto my needle, like so. I'm coming out of this 11-0, I'm going to go into this 11-0, and I am going to pull these pearls down, like so. Then I'm coming out of this 11-0, I'm going to cross into this 11-0 next to the one I'm coming out of, and go up into the pearl right above it, and pull. Make sure they're nice and neat and look pretty. Pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. Go down into the pearl next to the pearl you're coming out of, and just the pearl. Pull this down, and then make sure that they're laying nicely, they're not twisted. Go back up into the pearl next to the pearl you're coming out of. Go into the 11-0 seed bead and pull. Now we're going to secure these 11-0s again. Just on the 11-0s, we're going to sew through them again just to straighten them up, keep them nice and neat and pretty. So now we're coming out of this 11-0, we're going to go down into this 11-0, and just the 11-0. Pull the thread down, and then go back into the 11-0 we started in. Pull the thread down, put your thumb on top of these little 11-0s and give it a nice little tug so that they're nice and neat, like so. So now we're coming out of the 11-0 seed bead. So right here, so let's pick up 2 Eidos seed beads and do another section of our 4 units of herringbone with the Eidos. So you have 2 Eidos, come down into the bead next to the bead you're coming out of, just the 11-0s there. Pull these Eidos down, make sure they lay out nice with the holes up, and then go through the 11-0 next to the one you're coming out of, and the bead on top of it, the Eido, right there, and pull, like so. Now we're going to make 3 more units exactly the same. We are going to pick up 2 Eidos, we're going to come down through the Eido next to the one we're coming out of, pull these 2 Eidos down, cross over, go up through both the Eidos, and pull. And then again, pick up 2 Eido seed beads, come down through the Eido, cross over to the one next to the Eido you're coming out of, and go up through both Eidos and pull. Between each stitch, tug your thread a little bit, tug it straight out so that you don't break it, and against the side of the bead, and make sure that the thread between is nice and tight. Pick up 2 Eido seed beads, go down into the Eido next to the one you're coming out of, pull them down, cross over, go up through the 2 on that side, and pull. Now we're going to add another section. So we're going to go with our 11-0 seed beads first, pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, then we're going to cross over, go through the Eido, pull those beads down nice and neat, cross over to the Eido next to the one you're coming out of, go up through that Eido and the 11-0 seed bead on top of it, grab those 11-0s and just pull your thread so it's nice and tight. Now we're going to tighten these 11-0s again. So you're coming out of this 11-0, cross over to the 11-0 next to it, pull your thread tightly, and then come up through the bottom of the 11-0 next to the one you're coming out of, and pull. pull that thread down in there nice and tight. You're going to see a little bit of it, but you don't want to see a ton of it. It's not pretty if you see a lot of thread. Then we're going to pick up 2 pearls. We're coming out of this 11-0, we're going to go down into this 11-0. Then try to get them as neat as you can. They want to argue with you because they're big and the last beads were small. Once you get them to lay nice, you're coming out of this 11-0, cross over into the one next to it, go up the pearl. Now, simply because these pearls are so big, we're going to sew through this one more time. Now, if they lay nice and you don't feel like you need to, that's fine. But sometimes if you don't do this, then you'll get a really thready look when you put your 11-0s on. So I'm just going to cross over. I'm going to go into the pearl, pull it, then go into the pearl next to it, just like that, and pull these tight. These will make your pearls a lot nicer and neater. Now, pick up 2 11-0 seed beads, go into the pearl next to the one you're coming out of. Pull these 11-0s down tightly, go up into the pearl next to the one you're now coming out of, and the 11-0 on top of it if you can. Like so. Pull, and then we're going to cross over. We're coming out of this 11-0. We're going to cross over, go down through the top of the 11-0 next to it, pull. Now we're coming out of the bottom. We're going to cross over and go up through the bottom of the 11-0 next to the one we're coming out of, and pull. Then just kind of give it a little tug. Push the 11-0s down and tug the thread. And that's a nice, neat connection. Now we're going to add one more set of pearls. So we're going to do 1 set, and then a set of 8, and then 2 sets, and then a set of 8s, and then 1 set, just to give it a little bit more interest. So I'm going to pick up 2 pearls. I'm coming out of this 11-0. I'm going to go into this 11-0. I'm going to pull these pearls down, straighten them out, and then I'm going to go up through the 11-0 next to them, one I'm coming out of. If I can get my pearls to lay nice, there we go. Now I'm going to go into this 11-0, and it's really not hard, I promise. And the pearl on top of it. It's going to be kind of messy, but I'll straighten it out as I pull my thread through. Okay. So now I'm going to sew back through the pearls. So I'm going to cross over to this pearl, just to pull them nice and tight, and then come up through this one. Make sure my thread goes down between the beads nicely here, and then I'm going to pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. I'm coming out of this pearl, I'm going to go into this one. I'm going to go back up through the pearl and the 11-0 on top of it. And if you can't do it in one stroke, it doesn't matter. You can pick up the 11-0 after you come through the pearl. Pull these up nice and neat and tighten them. Now we're going to tighten these 11-0s one more time by sewing through just them. So cross over to the 11-0 next to the one you're coming out of, pull. Then cross back over and go through the bottom of the one next to the one you're coming out of now, and pull and secure them down, like so. Now I'm going to do 4 more sets of Eidos. So I'm going to pick up 2 Eidos, cross over to the bead next to the one I'm coming out of, go through it, pull my Eidos down, lay them out, cross over again, go up through the 11-0 next to the one I'm coming out of and the 8-0 on top of it. Pick up 2 8-0s and do the same thing. Cross over, go through the 8-0 next to the one I'm coming out of, go up through the 8-0 next to the one I'm coming out of and the one on top of it. Pick up 2 8-0s, go into the one next to the one I'm coming out of, not through both of them. Then cross over, go up through the beads here. Pull it tight, and one more time. And we're just going to continue this pattern, doing the exact same thing until we have 7 inches. Then we'll switch colors. So, look at this. I will now put on 11-0s and one set of my pearls, and then 11-0s, and I will put on 4 of my sets of 8-0s, and then I will continue. The next set after my 4 8-0s will be of 2 pearls, and I will just continue doing that pattern 1, 2, 1, 2 until I have close to 7 inches. And I will show you exactly how many units that will be when we come back. Okay, so I have made my 7 inches, and I'm going to show you how I'm measuring this. I am lining up onto my ruler right at the inch mark that starts. I'm going to go halfway through my clasp, like so, and measure it right to 7 inches. Now, if you have a 6-inch wrist, you're going to go to 6 inches. If you have an 8-inch wrist, you're going to go to 8 inches. This is going to make right about a 7-inch bracelet, considering that my wrist is 6.5 inches around. So I'm going to make a 7-inch. So this is going to measure my first span for me. Since I have my clasp, I can include that in. My second one, I will make exactly 7 inches. I'll put my second layer here to here. Now what I mean by second layer is I'm going to do the same exact stitch, but now I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to now start putting in white beads in my sections between. I'm going to keep my 8-0s and my 11-0s the same. However, if you would like, you can change your 8-0s to a different color. You can change your 11-0s to a different color also, and your 4mm rounds. You can change the whole scheme in the middle to a different color, and then the next section that we do, you can change that to a whole different color also. So you're not limited. Or of course you can do the whole length that'll go around your wrist 3 times in one color. So what I'm going to do now, you can see I've extended my Fireline. Like I said, there is a video that shows you how to do that on this channel. It's video number 4. If you do not know how to extend your Fireline, please look at that because you will need to do it. Now, pick up 2 pearls, because actually I need to put my 11-0s on first. So I've made my last section here. I've made my 4 8-0s, and now I need to put on my 11-0s. So let's do that. And then I'm going to cross over and go up my 8-0 just like I've been doing. Go into the 11-0 on top of it. Pull these down. Make sure they're nice and neat. Secure them by going back through them. So I'm going to cross over to the one next to the one I'm coming out of, go down through the top. And now I'm going to cross over back to the one I started in and go up through the bottom. If I can get my hand in the right position here, we'll do that. Okay, I'll pull this through, and I will push down on the beads at the same time I tighten it, just to make sure that it's nice and tight, like so. You can see my little extension there. Push that in there. Okay, now I'm ready to add my next set of pearls. So instead of peach, I'm going to pick up white, and I'm going to just cross over. And do the exact same thing I've been doing. I'm going to go up through the bead next to the one I'm coming out of and the pearl on top of it. Pull this down. Then I'm going to cross over to the pearl next to the pearl I'm coming out of. And I'm going to secure these pearls so that they lay nice and neat. Make sure the thread goes down nice and neat between the beads, and pick up 2 11-0 seed beads. Pull this down, cross over, go up through the 11-0 on top of the pearl. Yeah, I have to get it separately. So I'm going to come up through the bottom of that bead, and then I'm going to secure these by sewing back through them. So I'm going to cross over to the one that next to the one I'm coming out of through the top. Then I'm going to cross over and go through the bottom of the one next to the one I am now coming out of. Like so. And now I am ready to put my 4 Eidos seed bead sets on. So I'm just going to, I'm coming out of this one, I'm going to cross over to this one, picking up 2 Eidos, and then go back over, up through, and I will make 4 sets of them. Once I get done with that, then I'll put my 11-0s and I'll make 2 sets of pearls, and I'll just do the exact same pattern with my new color as I've already accomplished with my previous color, and then I will be back. And now, as you can see, I have done my second section, and it is 7 inches long. Now, last time when I ended my section, because I had my clasping on, I had 2 beads, and then I started with the section of 1. So down here, I've ended with 1, so I'll start with the section of 2 in my next color. And my next color is these gold pearlized drukes here. And so all I need to do now to start my next section is to pick up my 2 11-0s. I've made my Eidos here, and I can pick up my 2 11-0s and start the exact same pattern. And like I said before, you can change the color of Eidos too if you'd like. It's up to you. You can use crystal rounds, you can use anything you'd like. Bicones probably won't work well. They'll probably sit funny. You can try them, but I doubt seriously they'll sit funny. If you use a very small rondelle, it might work, like a 3x or a 4x3. I mean, that might work. But you can do these so many different ways and come up with really different results. And have each section completely look different than the last section, however you want to do it. But now I've started my section. I put my 11-0s on. I put my next color of 4mm rounds on. I'm going to secure them and tighten them by going around them one more time. Then I will put on my 11-0 seed beads on the other side of the 4mm rounds. And we just begin again doing the exact same thing until we have right about 6.5 inches, so that my clasping will be my 7-inch. So I will show you when I have finished this section what I've come up with. And of course, I'm not telling you exact numbers of units because of the fact that you will have to judge that by the length that you want to make for the size wrist you have. Now I can tell you what I made if you'd like. On my first section, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 sections of the double pearls. So that lets you know how many that you'll make, because all you have to do is put your Eidos and your single ones in between each section of 4 double pearls. I did the same on the second section. I did 4 double pearls, but I did an extra section of the 1 pearl. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 singles, 1, 2, 3, 4 doubles. On this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4 singles and 4 doubles. So that lets you know basically how many units you'll be making. And now I'm going to do this last section here. I will start adding my Eidos seed beads now and make 4 sets of them. And then I will move up and I will make my, after I make these 4 sections, I will do my double set of pearls or drooks, whatever the case may be. And then I will do my Eidos, and then I'll do a single set, just like I've been doing through the rest of the bracelet. And when I get to the length that I need, which will be right around 6.5 inches, I'll be back. Okay, so as you can see, I've done my next section, and it's exactly 6.5 inches. To give myself a little bit more room and to make sure that this end will go through my clasp nicely, I'm going to do just a couple units of herringbone with my 11 O's just to end this and, like I said, make it narrower so that my end goes through nicely. So what I'm going to do is I finished my last section of 8 O's. I've put on 1 set of 11 O's. I'm going to put on another set of 11 O's, probably 3 sets. So just a little bit of extended herringbone here, just to make it nice and narrow. So I'm just doing the same stitch we've been doing, but this time I'm just using 11 O seed beads. I'm going to pick up another set of 2. I'm coming out of this side, I'm going to go onto this side, and then I'm going to go up through this side. And now I've got 3 sets. So I'm then going to pick up 2 11 O seed beads, an 8 O, and drop them down. So I have 2 11 O's and an 8 O, like so. I'm going to drop them down, and then I'm going to pick up my clasp. I'm going to go through it. Then I'm going to go back through my 8 O and just the 8 O. I'll hold on to it and pull my needle through, pull my clasp down to the 8 O, and then I'll pick up 2 11 O seed beads and go through the other side. So I'm going to go through all 3 of these 11 O's right here. And I'm going to go down through all 4 of the 8 O's. And straighten this out, it tangled. There we go. So that's what that should look like. And then I'm just going to go all the way back up through all of my 8 O's and all of my 11 O's. Then I'm going to go through the 8 O and the clasp, go back down, and I'm going to do that again. Now this gets tugged on a lot, so now I'm going to go halfway through my 8 O's. Come back up by crossing over to the one next to the one I'm coming out of, and I'll just go all the way back up again. Then I'll go back through my 8 O, around my clasp. Then I'm going to go back down again. I'm going to do this one more time just to make this really strong, because like I said, these are going to get tugged on a whole lot. So now I'm going to come down through the third 8 O. The reason I'm alternating the 8 O's I'm coming through is for strength and for appearance, because the thicker you get the thread cross, where it crosses between the beads, the more you're going to see it. So it makes it prettier if you go through different ones, and it makes it stronger. You won't have one area of impact when it gets pulled on. So now I'm going to go all the way back up. Got my thread doubled here. Let me undouble that. There we go. And I'm going to go back up through the Eidos. Then I'll go back around my clasp. And that should be pretty strong. So I'm going to go down one more time into all of these 11-ohs here. I'm going to have to pick them up separately. And then go all the way through all of the beads. I'm going to go through all of these Eidos. I'm going to go through this 11-oh and this pearl here, and I'm going to tie a knot on the thread bridge between the pearl and the 11-oh here. And then I'm going to cross over. I'm going to go through the pearl. Then I'm going to go back down through this pearl. So I'm going to just cross over, just as we've been doing. Go back down. I'm through this 11-oh and this, the pearl in the 11-oh, right there. I'll tie another knot on the thread bridge between the 11-oh and the 8-oh here. And you can go through as many beads and tie as many knots as you'd like. I'm going to go down these 8-ohs here. And I'm going to cut my thread off. Then I'm going to burn down the tag that I've left with the thread here, the tail, just by getting it close to my flame and letting it roll up. Now, let's back off and look at this thing we've just created here. And that is what that looks like. It's really kind of cute. Let me put it on. Let's see how I want to get this arranged. And right this is what it looks like. And here's my clasp here. And it turned out really cute. Now, of course, you can make this longer or shorter. You can make it different colors of beads, like I said, in different sections, whatever you want to do. You can vary this in many, many ways. If you want it a little looser, mine is hugging pretty good because I made it pretty much exactly the size of my wrist as I did each section. But I don't mind that. It doesn't feel tight. It feels good. It's fine. It looks good. So anyway, you can adjust the length, you can adjust the number of units you do, you can do whatever you want with it. It's pretty simple, pretty easy pattern to play with and readjust length and all of those things. So again, let me just show you the thing all together here. And there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you make one. See ya.